Sorry about that. Power went out about 3 times. Try to finish this up real quick. Got our flash in. You see the tail's dry now. Next material is going to be, there's 2 ribs in this fly. One is a piece of small copper wire, and the next is a strand of flashabou. So start with the copper wire, tie that in. Make sure it's locked down really nice. You don't want it to pull free. And then just 1 strand of flashabou. Gives it a very neat look. Same thing, just tie it on the near side of the hook. And we'll go ahead and lock that in. Alright, next material is 3 to 4 strands of peacock curl. Try to get this flipped around where get it tied in. And hopefully it's long enough. Cut out these extra pieces for the tips. And then work our thread up 2 behind the bead and throw a half hitch in there. If you have problems keeping your hurl together to where you can get it with your hackle pliers, just put a little bit of water on your thumb, and that will stick them together and make it easier to grab with your hackle pliers. Now we'll start wrapping this to make the body of the fly. I want to take this all the way back to behind the bead, and then tie that off. I like to pull it back, do a couple wraps over it just to make sure it's locked in. And we can remove the hackle pliers and trim out the butts. Make sure that's locked down good. Do another half hitch. There we go. And we're going to take our flashabou rib, get it with the hackle pliers, and we're going to make counter wraps. All the way back to behind the bead, and then we'll get that tied off. And I messed up. A little too much thread out, so it wanted to unspool on me whenever I started tying it down, but I got it that time. And now we can remove that and cut it out. And we'll take our feather. I'm using this brown grizzly. I think the grizzly on it gives it a little bit of depth and it makes it look really good. I'll lay that on there. And once again, I'm going to do a half hitch. Lost a few wraps there, so I want to make sure that's nice and tight. Using your mouth might not be pretty, but you got to do what you got to do. Alright, so this part can be a little tricky. Not only do you wrap the feather in, but then you have to catch it with the wire. So for me, I use 2 hackle pliers. I start with the feather and get it worked down. Try to get that right there. Do 2 wraps behind the bead and then angle it back. So without trying to let too much tension off that, I'm going to drop it for a second. Get my copper wire with my other hackle pliers. And now try to get it to where I can get the tip of the feather with the wire. Try to do a couple wraps on the tip. Just make sure I got it. And then just wiggle it through. I'm gonna try to pop that free. Just like that. And then just wiggle the wire so you don't catch too many of the fibers, but it does happen. Should be using my bobbin cradle here. It'd probably make more sense, but I have stuff on it. Now that we're at the bead, I like to do 2 wraps. And then capture that. And this fly with the 2 ribs like that is very durable. I caught several fish before the fly was unfishable. I think I got 6 trout on it and a bass before the fly was wrecked. So very durable. If you can helicopter that lead off, or that wire, sorry. I cannot. So I have a pair of cheap scissors here that I'm going to use to snip that out. Just like that. Do a couple more wraps there. And then we can whip finish. And there you go. Trim your thread off without cutting too much of your color. Some wayward fibers here I want to get rid of. And then the last little bit of tip from that hackle. If you want, you can go through and try to pick out some of the trapped fibers. But for the most part, that's it. Is a thin mint woolly bugger. Extremely fun pattern to fish. Extremely effective for catching fish. Trout, bass, brim. I've tied these as small as a size 12. And it still looks good. It's a very fun pattern to fish. I have several in my box for when I get to go fishing. But try it out. If you would like to purchase some, I will leave the link in the description for the trout spot. Check out the shop. Very nice little shop. But thank you for watching. Sorry about the power outages. If you're new, please subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up, and y'all have a good day. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to tie what has been my favorite woolly bugger for some time now. I fished this in North Carolina and absolutely slayed trout. I've also caught little bass on it. It's really fun pattern to fish. The hook is a size 8 streamer hook. I have a 5/32 tungsten silver bead and 5 wraps of 20 thousandths lead wire. So the woolly bugger is a thin mint. Looks really good in the water. It's really fun to fish, especially if you like fishing the streamer patterns. anyone would be interested in buying flies, I'll leave a link in the description to the shop that sells my flies. It's called the Trout Spot, or the troutspot.com. Very nice little shop. Lots of tying material, really good prices. So again, I'll leave the link in the description. But I have everything prepped and ready to go, so hopefully this won't take too long. So we are going to get started. The thread I'm using also is uni thread, 6/0. So I have a marabou plume here in olive. I'm going to dip that in water just to make it more manageable. What makes this pattern unique is the tricolor tail. So you have 3 colors on the tail, and it looks really good in water. So I just dip the marabou in water. It makes it a lot easier for me to tie in. It makes it a lot more manageable for me. I'm going to make the tail about a hook shank in length. Try to get that right on top of the hook, the best you can. I'll wrap back a few times to about right there. And to make it even underbody, take our thread and do open spiral wraps towards the front. Going towards the bee, you're going to stop right behind the lead wraps. Just make sure you have gives you a nice underbody, nice even underbody. Go ahead and trim that out. And we'll work our thread. Clean this up a little bit, then work it back. Doesn't have to be super neat right now. We have a lot of material to tie in. I just want to make sure that's tied down really nice. Next color is going to be brown marabou. Same thing, going to dip in water. Once I dip it in the water, I just run it through my fingers. Get all the fibers laying down how I want. And it just makes it a lot more manageable. Same thing, lay that right on top. Try to make it the same length as the olive. If it's a little off, it's not that big of a deal. And the same thing, just spiral it back up towards the lead wraps. And then we can trim out this butt end. And now the last piece of marabou is going to be black. And once again, dip in water. And then lay it right on top. Should probably move our thread back. It's a little longer, so I'm going to take it and just give it a little tug. And try to get that right on top. Kind of hard to keep it all even on top. Just do the best you can. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but makes the fly look nicer. It's a little crooked, but I think it's going to be alright for now. Once it dries, it'll look different, and then, of course, it's going to act different in the water. So, we got all that tied in. There's olive, brown, and black. And trim out our tag end. Try to make it neat as possible to help when we get ready to tie the hackle in. A very unique pattern. I fished a lot of different patterns in Carolina when I was there, and I always came back to this one. This is the one that was producing fish. And we just have 3 or 4 strands of flashabou and pearl. I believe it's just standard color, or standard size, sorry. On this side, on the near side of the hook, you can take it once you tie it in, then pull it to length. And just take it and wrap towards the bead. And then take it back to the original tie-in point. And then you can take this side, pull it over, try to get it lined up. If you have to, you can pull it and adjust it to get it to lay where you want. Sorry about that, the power just flicked. It's storming outside. Turn my light back on.